Okay, this is Kev, and this is Black Men Being Brutally Honest, and this is also Saturday night. So I know there are people out there that are doing things in the midst of COVID, such as roller skating and shaking their tail feather tonight. But for those of us sitting at the crib, just welcome. It's showtime once again. Uh, Last night, had a show talking about alphas and betas, in the context of such. And it was a good time last night, and that um, I'm glad that I had the guests that I had on the panel. And honestly, for me, they made the show. It's like guests always make your show. For anyone that has people coming to your panels, you should always appreciate those people because they help smooth things over. I still consider myself, getting better and better with this. And, but I still have some wrinkles to iron out. But, I'm cool. Like it feels great to be able to speak to people, and, share my perspective as a black man, as a black father, and as a living and breathing human being, an American, you know, with, ADOS or, foundation. I mean, whatever you want to identify with, we really don't have a set identity for real, for real. But it's we know we all know what's in our hearts, and sometimes we don't like for people to point that out for us. We like to let everyone know that this is the stance we take, and that's it. And you should never ever, when you're taking a noble or a solid positive stance, ever should ever buckle down and just submit. I'll put it to you like that. You should never be shamed for that, ever. You never should, Uh, the best thing though, I would say at this point, since is to be mature about it, and let's just talk about it, and let's explain what's going on. And I can give you a little insight on what's really going on inside of my head, and maybe others will join the panel too. As the broadcast progresses. Um, I'll drop a link here in a minute. But the really, honestly, the mature thing to do when shaming starts to come your way is just to, I don't know, I guess, debunk it. I would say the best case scenario is to debunk everything, because the person on the other side is obviously getting worked up because they have to shame you. We're also, as the night progresses, we're going to talk about, various language statements that are often made. All right, so all right, just wait for some people to get in here. Let's see. I just dropped a link in the chat. The night is pretty young, so hope everyone is having a good Saturday. Yeah, like I say, Saturday, is a great night to do a broadcast. Although it's a going out night as well. It's really hard to pull off something on going out nights unless you have a massive following. But that's never an excuse. That's never an excuse. Just I decided to just go ahead and do one. Thought it'd be a fun idea. So okay, so let me put it right here. And boom, there it is link. Someone wants to jump up, there you go. You know, just like let's wait on some people, I'll just say some jibber jabber so we can get things situated. See. Yeah. Shout out to Superman Clark Kent Sr. What's going on? Shoot, just getting started, just getting warmed up. On this Saturday night. For those of us who aren't on the town yet, getting shit faced, we're doing a show tonight. Uh, they only call you broke because you're right. How many times have you been unnecessarily insulted because you're in the midst of a conversation where you were delivering facts that no one can dispute, basically. Yeah, a lot of us let's just go ahead and relate this conversation to, what we can relate it to. A lot of us in the Black manosphere, we run into that quite often. I mean, is one big shaming tactic goes on with the Black manosphere. And that primary shaming tactic is it's just it's a wing of YouTube full of hurt Black men who got hurt when they were younger. So they're taking out their anger and their frustration on women, you know, and that's it, basically. Basically, that they hate they're self haters. They hate everything about themselves because of their mothers. Their mothers hurt them as a child. They got rejected by a girl in the fifth, sixth grade, and they're still angry about it. So they come to the internet to vent because of some things that they never got over. So, that's shaming within itself because we know as men that we have to get over mistreatment. And I understand that. And you should never let anything make you bitter. Unless it's just that bad, and then you can explain it in a way that sounds like common English. You always have that option, but never forget the person on the other side has that option as well. You know, are they giving you what they're asking for of you? Are they treating you like they want to be treated? Like 9 times out of 10, the answer is probably going to be no. It's probably going to be them trying to dominate the conversation on the other side and reminding you of things you've known many, many times over in your life. Like, say, for instance, like you're Black. You always have to be reminded that you're Black. That your mother is Black. Oh, you never hear anything about your father, though. I mean, so you have to be reminded that you came from a Black woman. You have to be reminded that yes, again, you're Black, meaning that you have to care about the Blackness of the person on the other side, but they aren't even beginning to take yours into consideration. And this could be rooted from something as small as a difference of opinion. You know. Now, I'll give you a little sneaky one right here. Who sounds more coherent in actual political debates? Trump supporters or Democrats? I'll just say Trump supporters and Democrats because really, honestly, it's just about Trump. It ain't the Republican Party's sneaky bastards, and they're doing things to and things that are happening on the surface to keep you distracted. But any one of us in this in this wing of YouTube can point that out. Um, but but anyway, just saying. Um, who are the better debate? Like I've seen quite a few, and I gotta be honest. No, I have to be brutally honest. It does seem like it seems like I've run into coherent Democrats that can debate, but the Trump supporters seem to be able to point a few things out about Trump's presidency. And I mean, like everybody's like, "Oh, you seen some video on the internet." No, I have to go look up some certain things. You know, like somebody posted about him doing something for HBCUs. And then I was like, well, did he really do it? And then the Democrats said, yeah, but blah, 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 such and such, and all this other stuff. I mean, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But should we destroy each other for that opinion, though? Shout out to Mela. How are you doing tonight? I mean, if the opinion is like, I would say it like this. I would say it like this. I wouldn't demonize your average Trump supporter, the one that goes on campaigns and act like that they go out of their way to not support blacks and to, just, shit on our struggles and everything. I understand those guys. But your average Trump supporter, just ask them what's up. Shit. I've talked with many people that are Trump supporters. I've talked with many people that are Biden supporters. I got to tell you, the Biden supporters are much more rude to me than the Trump supporters. You know, and let's see, Superman Clark Kent scene. Y'all got to watch the movie to get this saying, LOL, coming to America. Okay. It's on sexual chocolate. No, I did that one on purpose. I just put an avatar up there, just to, just just to bullshit around. But that's why we do it most of the time, just till I get my camera lighting and just homestead a little bit more situated, get some presentation going. I mean, everything, some things are just a work in progress. So don't worry. Pretty soon, people, pretty soon, you know. But I enjoyed the movie Coming to America. But anyway, um, hmm, yeah, are we just a space of people that are going to continue to get nothing done, despite the fact that we are having these conversations? I don't think, honestly, within the Black Manosphere that a lot of those conversations are for nothing. They are seen as nothing because people are triggered by what's going on. It is a growing amount of the manosphere has a growing amount of influence. Anyone that triggers, like, seriously, as many people as I've seen all over social media triggered by the manosphere is definitely doing something right now. But I'm one of the guys that don't want to see it turn out that way. And I've stated it before and I stated it again. I know what it's like to make something that's black man centered that is attacked by, our own people. I don't ever forget that we do have a air of white supremacy that we have to worry about. I've never forgotten that. We've been in that fight forever. But having to worry about our people too, honestly, I don't. Then this is not me saying it because I care about what they think. I don't, because somebody was like, somebody's, it was a post on Facebook, and they were like, oh, if you hear a white person say something disparaging about a black person, why should you care? Because you see black women and black men doing it all the time. And my answer was like, not my concern. My answer is always going to be not my concern when someone says something like that. I really hate it when people say stuff like, uh, well, we don't need black people talking about black people. We got white people talking about white people enough. Why black people talking about us too? Okay, what you're doing is you're demoralizing the conversation when black people are involved, and that's a shame. Black people should be having this conversation. Who gives a damn about if a white person's having that conversation or an Asian is having a conversation? Worry about your own damn community. I don't care what they think. Their minds are already made up. Why are we so worried about that? Shout out to Blase Ba. Shout out to the Roger Report Live. Long live the habitual line steppers. And boom. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, kid? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Oh man, doing all right, doing all right. Just another day out here trying to do what I can do to make what I can make. You feel me? I want to make some of myself one day. I'm joking because I see what you see what you're talking about. That's all. I'm joking with you.
Oh,
Uh, yeah. Well, I do know what you're talking about because yeah, so once I did get involved in social media, you know, um, I just say that uh, um, hatred is more freely expressed towards black men on social media. I'll just say that because you see it in your everyday life. Well, people should be able to see it in their everyday life, but on social media, it's just more freely expressed. And amongst insults, being called broke is going to come up. Broke, gay, stupid, slow. Whatever the case is, but it's all that's going to be said when it when you start addressing actual issues that that will that really affect a large portions of the black community. Yeah, people gonna throw insults at you. That's just the way it's gonna be, and I'm pretty sure it's the way it's always gonna be.
Yeah, like what about the one as of late, incel? What about that one?
I mean, and you know what? Let me not say it's going where it's always gonna be, because hopefully the majority will not of people will not be that way in the future. But all we can do is hope. But yeah, the incel thing don't really make sense in the black community, because pussy is given away way too freely to push an incel argument, in my opinion. I'm not gonna say it couldn't exist, because when you got a large enough group of people, you can find anything exists. I always use the example of I can find you a guy with no legs. Now, just off the top of your head, you just automatically assume, yeah, humans have legs. But if you give me a few minutes, I can find you a guy with no legs. So yeah, it does exist. Now, is that like a large majority of black people, or a majority of any people? No, most of us got legs, but you can find a guy with no legs. So the same thing it'd be like the same thing when it comes to like an incel, because that means you're involuntarily celibate. Who really is involuntary celibate in the black community, but pussy's given away so free? You know what I'm saying? The best way to get some pussy is to show up and have nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of women who will give you some. You are very attractive to a lot of sisters if you seem like you can be controlled. And if you broke, like your post say, you know what I'm saying? They gonna jump on the dick now. A large portion of them will. So yeah, saying somebody's an incel, I will believe it exists, but I think that's probably got to be about 0.05% of the population. I don't think it's any huge number of the population of black folks. I don't believe it. It's a point that don't make sense to me. It just never did.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's more like voluntarily celibate.
And you know what? Though, let me throw this out here too. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember Edward saying something about this, but he was absolutely right. There's a lot of fat chicks out here that's getting dick. So to say that guys are involuntarily celibate, no, you may not get the best looking woman. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But everybody ain't nobody out here talking about I ain't gonna sleep with no sister unless she an absolute 10. Like I ain't never heard nobody say nothing like that. So if all these fat chicks out here getting dick, and it's some women that just I ain't gonna say nothing too bad about it, but it's some that's clearly not the most attractive. They be out here with babies. So who hitting them? Who hitting them chicks?
Let me tell you something. I'm from an area that I used to see that very regularly. I mean, there's anybody, there's somebody out there for everybody. They just have to accept who their somebody is. I mean, if it's so they ever run into that person.
Yeah, but that being the case, man, to say there's like a bunch of incels in the black community, nah, I can't buy into that one. Now with what I've seen, now who I've seen pushing baby carriage, now somebody's doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how you're gonna ever be to the point of being an incel in you and our community. The other communities, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Because that really came out the white. At least when I first heard of it, and that was men who just feel like they should get a certain particular type of woman. But keep in mind, they're entitled white people. White folks, a lot of white folks feel entitled. I ain't gonna say all of them do, but a lot of white folks feel that they're entitled. They got white skin, white supremacy has been taught to them too, so they feel entitled. So if they can't get the woman they want, they throw a fit. But where in the black community are you gonna find a bunch of entitled men who feel like they should get a top 10 chick? You see what I'm saying? Where have we ever seen black men say, "No, I'm not gonna sleep with none of these chicks because if I ain't getting a 10, I don't want it"? Where have you ever seen that?
Well, I mean, they say that exists, but I have yet to see something like that in large. you might see your random every now and again. You know, I can't deny
I
it.
ain't seen it yet.
I mean, I can't deny the existence of certain weirdos, you know. But most people that do that are just trolls that don't act like that in real life. Like unstable men that actually, black men especially, that think they do that. I mean, they think they're entitled. No, not for real.
Well, see, this is my thing. I'm old enough that if it was a common thing, I would have ran into at least one of them by now. I ain't seen nobody on the street like that. Oh man, she ain't no 10. I ain't touching it. I ain't met him yet. You know? I mean,
Or
and think about it. When it comes to the black community, people say black men are the garbage men of the nation. Like we'll hit anything. You know what I'm saying? So you can't simultaneously have a reputation that if no matter how fat you are or how bad you look or whatever the case is, no matter what your nationality, some black man gonna hit it, and also maintain that a bunch of black men ain't getting no pussy. You can't have both at the same time.
mm, mm. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Yeah, I had a message come in real quick. I'm sorry about that. You know, got thrown off my little thought process. But yeah, what I do is I'll follow up, like, you know, the whole coming from the white community thing. The whole word incel. That's just another example of how we as blacks think that we can just take words and make them our own, and we throw it to insult black men. And what it looks like is just the same little pattern of, you know, every time black men try to step up and, you know, make suggestions or, you know, speak our opinion, there's always that little subtle anti-black man sentiment that everyone has. You know, it like I'm talking like any time a black man tries to say something and it doesn't go with the, you know, the group or the collective, then there's that opposition. I mean, Roger.
Well, I'm just gonna say there is a collective of people that just don't want to see black men improve. So if you come across trying to be encouraging, you gonna try to convince a black man to get off his behind and do something, or you gonna tell a black man that yeah, you at this level right now, but you could be at a different level the next year or two, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Yeah, they can't stand that. It's folks that can't stand that.
You know, but here it is. You know what I was, you know, getting back to what I was saying earlier. If a you know, I was kind of speaking about this before you came on. If a black man has had a bad experience in his life and, you know, he's a little angry about it, you know, why isn't he allowed to share it? You know, I mean, I have my own, you know, a couple of theories about that. Basically, because of who the finger is being pointed at. Like, say for instance, his mother. Like, you know, black women had a tendency to put all of themselves in the same box. Like, they don't see chicken head Bonquisha, they see black woman. They don't see Condoleezza Rice, they see black woman. They don't see Cardi B, they see black woman. They don't see Meghan Markle, they see black woman, and so on and so forth. You know, so anything that you say about anything with a little melanin and a vagina, you know, you're motherfucking Adolf Hitler to everybody. You know, it's the worst thing in the world. You should, even if it's factual, you just shouldn't do it. And then that's when he goes into the oh, you're just like one shaming tactic. You're just angry and hurt, and you're just taking it out on everybody. You know, have you heard that one? Have you seen that one?
Yeah. It's to me that's just that projecting stuff because women keep trying to. Women basically, if you look at the stuff they say, they're basically saying men think and act exactly like women. Now, I'm not gonna say it's not a few guys out here who've been raised by single mothers and been kept away from process. Is more that's women projecting how they saying that for the most part. You know, they because the whole rush, they'll get into it with their girl. You know what I'm saying? That's your home girl, like all the way down. You know what I'm saying? You get into it with their home girl. Next thing you know, they don't speak for 35 years. Now, grown men will literally go to blows and be kicking it tomorrow. We're not them. They're not us.
Okay. Yeah, I had to run outside for a second. Sorry about that. Well, what was that last thought, Roger? A lot going on.
Yeah. Now, I was just saying that's basically like women trying to project that most men think like them, because they don't pay attention to how men think in the large majority of time, so that they assume we think and operate just like they do. So they are projecting what they do on us. And I was just saying, you know how like two women can be like all the way down, they swear they homegirls, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I done known her since I was in grammar school, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll get into it. And next thing you know, they won't speak for 35 years. But men, we have such camaraderie that even if we go to blows, we might be kicking it, having a bit the same night or the next day. We don't operate like they do. They get scarred and it sticks a lot more than if a man has a bad experience. You know, that stuff wash off our back 9 times out of 10.
Oh yeah, and I'll say this too. They love to see us fight. They love to see us have that little conflict, that back and forth. Like, you know, the critical thinking black man versus the simp. You know, that kind of conflict. You know, because you know the simp is really his purpose is to derail the conversation, you know, any way he can. So, you know, he comes against the undisputable critical thinking black man. And you know, they've already done everything to straw man and avoid facts and avoid accountability. When that guy comes in, he is their champion. The champion of shame and white knighting and shit. You know, he comes in and they love it. They love it. They'll praise them. They'll do all kinds of things. They might send them a nipple in their inbox. They DM whatever. Yeah.
I mean, well, when it comes to stuff like that, I mean, women are still searching for validation from men. So anything that they feel is men in conflict and somehow is over them, they're gonna support that no matter what, because they don't. If they really felt great about themselves on a general level, we would kind of see it. And most sisters,
Hey, 1 second. Mela tried to come up. I don't know if she's still down. You know, still down. Did she? Okay, there she is. All right, there you go, Mela. What's going on?
Hey, Mela.
Mela. Well, I guess not. I guess we can continue talking to
Hello.
Okay, there she go. Hey, Mela, how you doing?
Hi, you guys.
Okay.
Hey, what's going on?
Well, let's do a mic check. Am I clear?
I hear you now. I do hear you now.
All right, wonderful.
Okay.
I'm here for any. I'm here for questions.
Okay. Mela, but before you get started, let me acknowledge this super chat. Thank you. Son is Hot Rock. He says, "Hey gentlemen, will one of you be able to do a stream entitled Is It Discipline or Child Abuse? Exploring the extent of the physical discipline Black children get from their mothers."
That's interesting. That's interesting.
That would be great on either one of our channels. The Roger Report Live, that sounds great for you. I mean, it'll be great for me too. But yeah,
it does. But you know what? Let's talk about that off air. But yeah, we can get that on. We can get that done.
Yeah, we can get it done. But you know, thanks for the super chat. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and shout out to you, Ra. I seen you saying what's up, my brother. But yeah, I think that's a great suggestion, man. That's a great suggestion. We'll get it worked in somewhere.
And Superman Clark Kent Sr., I have a question. Go ahead. But But we're trying to get Melly in right now. So what up, Mella? You have questions also, right?
No, actually, the topic speaks for itself. So I can address whatever it is that you want to inquire towards me.
Oh, okay. All right. But let me go ahead and address Superman Clark Kent Sr. Ask her, is she gonna cam up or yam up? LOL. I'm gonna go ahead and respond to that. I don't really require for people to come here and cam up on this channel. Because I don't. Yeah, although I do show my face on certain videos, I don't cam up myself, and I don't think that's most important because some of these guys have to work in public, and until honestly, I'm going to put it to you like this: until Black people display some consistent maturity, meaning that they don't dox people just because they disagree with them, then you shouldn't require anybody to show their face. If you can show your, I don't knock the people that show their face, but it just I'm not gonna stress it here. I'll put it to you like that. So, Mela, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. I've displayed a picture of my frame and face. It's not an issue. It's just a matter of how treacherous things have gotten online. There are personalities and characters. I don't even know if I think calling them characters is disrespectful. So I'll just call them personalities. There are personalities that have been held accountable for their display of opinion, and I guess what they
you're just messing with her. We just here to
Yeah, I
make
can
sure.
say yeah. I think he was just joking. That's what I
yeah.
Man. I like for the show to be interactive. It keeps people interested. But I like the whole.
So I'm glad you acknowledge that he's a playful person, because it's very difficult for. Yeah, it's difficult for people to acknowledge when somebody's being FOS, if for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
And but anyway, I'm in full agreement with the thoughts, opinions, and observations of what you shared thus far. I'm in full agreement with it. I mean, what other choice do we have as Black women but to be in full agreement and adjust? That's a priceless gift. The gift of adjustment. It's like, okay, this is what we're doing, and you adjust. That's an innate gift, dare I say, amongst women by virtue of the nurturing aspect. We know how to adjust. So any event that we actually care about, you guys, actually factually care about, you guys, we can adjust. And the fact that it would appear that we don't do it, it's on some rebellion stuff, and I think the point of the matter is, why do Black women rebel against the Black man making a determination to accelerate his power in society and globally? What's that a rebellion about?
I think that the first thing that you need to take a look at is white supremacy. I mean, no, most.
That's why Black women rebel. That's what it is.
But I mean, if you don't want blackness in charge, if you're more comfortable with whiteness in charge, then yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that. I mean, I mean, most of what I see regularly with my people, and this is on the outside, is when we're fighting amongst ourselves, but when a white person comes around, we kind of clam up a little bit, like, okay, especially a white person of authority like a cop or something like that. We don't mind fighting amongst ourselves, though. So
right. I'll say this, instinctively, one knows what's best for themselves. Nonetheless, it is never absent to be aware of where you come from, and that's the tug of war in their own consciousness. The tug of war in a woman's consciousness is, I prefer to be loyal to where I come from and cooperate and be devotional to that stance. However, there is this more guaranteed product on the other side, and that does cause a rebellion. It's just I classify it as rebellion. It's like that's what I think. Black women are in. I don't even want to say they're intentionally rebellious. I just think that they believe there is no other choice than to be rebellious against what goes far beyond their nature of what they would prefer to see. They would prefer for Black families to congregate and grow and strengthen and dominate. That's what they would prefer. However, there is this thing called reality and economics and living day to day, and you got to do what you got to do. That type of statements that go around in their head like a record player, and I think the rebellion kicks in from that aspect.
But let me ask you this though: you said something about they at the end they want the Black family, they want what's best for the Black family. Do you think what the sisters generally put on display promote that? I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Not at all. I mean, I've seen more things. I've seen most sisters say stuff like, why does everybody have to be like?" And this is a growing sentiment. Why do you have to be married in order to have children too? Like, okay, then don't ask for child support. That's just me. If you want a child without a family, without a husband, you shouldn't be entitled to child support. I mean, so I don't see a big ass push for the nuclear family from the majority of Black women, but correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm discussing that you are correct in that assessment, that it has gone amok. Okay, emphasis on amok. Everything has gone amok with the nature of seeing yourself. When you see that somebody that has the same essence of skin tone and culture that you have, and you make a rebellious decision to just act a damn fool against it, it's based on something beyond what I am credentialed to edify. I just know that there is a social disruption in somebody's psyche to represent something that has no goal. They're just vibing off the bullshit. They just vibing off the bullshit, and it goes against their nature.
You're saying you're not qualified to say what that is. But,
I'm not a social worker. That's what I'm saying. I'm not a social worker.
Okay, but don't they teach us that experience is the best teacher?
I'm a well-decorated Air Force veteran in wartime, and that has granted me so many different glorious experiences to understand the nature of human beings globally. However, there's a such thing as a social worker. A social worker has been trained to edify better than I ever could.
Okay.
How to break down what somebody is going through. And that's what I meant by that.
Yeah, but what I was saying was, it's also about what you see with your eyes and how that makes you, and how it makes you feel as well. That does count for something. Even you know,
it is safe to say that it would shame the ancestors.
and the ancestors, like seriously,
It was shame the ancestors. What these women are doing would shame the ancestors.
Some of them, because some of our ancestors did, you know. I'll just put that out there. I'm not gonna disrespect all our ancestors, not the ones that you know mattered and tried to do something to get us out of that hell back then. But some of our ancestors,
the ancestors wanted better for us, and we're not doing better.
Like ancestors, right? like what ancestors? I mean, I want it better for my ancestors. I will say that. You know, we at least right now we're in a position to where we can do something about it. You know, we're not under that kind of scrutiny. You know, if it were only better for our ancestors, it might be a little better for us too. But you know, after the birth of my child, I really can't argue with anything, you know, that happened before then. So, you know, that's what I decided. What I decided is what I can do for now. I mean, our ancestors, we pay homage and reverence to them, and they should be spoken of in the right way. You know, like not like how some people, you know, speak. Like there's a certain YouTuber that says like, black men didn't protect us during slavery. It's like, you weren't there back then, so why say something so fucking ignorant? I mean, seriously, we were all in that shit. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna say because I ain't gonna be here too much longer, but I just want to say this because you know before y'all go too deep off into the ancestors and all that.
Yeah.
It does not take a rocket science to see what people want, because all you gotta do is look at what they do. Those who want more, they do more. Those who want less, they do less. And I get what Melo was saying about black women being in rebellion, but they're in rebellion because they want to be in rebellion. That's all it is to it. They just don't want to be. They don't want to deal with black male leadership. Therefore, they don't. They do everything they can to avoid it. Anybody who's purposely doing.
Why do they do it?
Because they white supremacists. That's it at the end of the day. That's what they've been taught. That's what they've been taught. Hold on. They've been taught to be white supremacists since they were born. They've been taught it through the television shows. They've been taught it through their education. They've been, especially if you go to college nowadays, and they've been taught it through magazines and books. You know, most stuff that black people have come into contact with when it comes to education and media, almost every single one of us, and there's a few exceptions to the rule, but almost every single one of us, we have not seen anything or read anything that wasn't white supremacy approved.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Roger. What I will say,
okay, go ahead.
If I am so allowed, what I will say is the same media influences that influenced us as young people was exposed to both genders. So to call black women white supremacist sympathizers, wouldn't that be the same accord on the opposite side of the gate?
I didn't say sympathizers. I said, but they were white supremacists. They are white supremacists, not white supremacist sympathizers. They are white supremacists. And no, because men don't follow.
White. They're not white.
No. White supremacy is an ideology. It ain't got nothing to do with the color of a person.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no requirement to be white to be a white supremacist.
I'll give you an example. We have no problem calling A.G. Daniel Cameron a white supremacist.
Well, I mean, my thing is, what does color have to do with ideology? If you're a Christian, you're a Christian. That means you follow Christian doctrine. If you're a Muslim, you follow Muslim doctrine. You know what I'm saying? The color ain't got nothing to do with that. It's an ideology.
I get you, but at the same time, Muslims and Christians are not white supremacists. I'm saying
any color can follow that. I ain't say nothing about them being white supremacists. What I'm saying is any person of any color can follow any ideology they want to. And what is white supremacy? What is white supremacy other than an ideology?
A concept.
Okay, it's a concept. So it's still, even when you're saying concept, you're talking about an idea. So that still falls in ideology. And if it's just an ideology, how can anybody not be a white supremacist if they choose to be one?
And I
I'm
mean,
here
like,
to I'm here
and-
to agree with you, believe it or not. I'm here to agree with you.
I mean, it's easy
I'm
to
saying
agree.
that for the
Either it's
record.
an ideology
I'm
or it's
saying that
not.
for the record.
Okay, well, I'm saying if you want to agree, either it's an ideology or it's not. Now, if you think it's not an ideology, we can deal with that. But if you agree that it's an ideology, then there's no way to say that black women aren't white supremacists if they follow a white supremacist ideology. You can't separate the two.
Yeah, I think that in my effort to agree with you, where I pause is the term white.
Who
Right?
cares? That's what it's called. It's just a label. We know what we're talking
Okay.
about.
All
We got to
right,
call it
I got
something.
you. I got you. All right.
Like I said, it's not like it's not the idea that we have a problem assigning that to certain black men. I mean, seriously, it does not mean that certain black women don't fall under that category. And one category of black women I feel like fall under that category is the ones that are against the nuclear family. You know, it's just not working without a father being there, and I don't know why some of them ain't got that shit figured out yet. You know, it's just not working. You know, and
Well,
you
it was
know
white.
but we also got to think about the circumstance that led to that shit. You know, can't just talk about it one way.
Mm.
Well, it was black. It was white folks' idea to have the father outside the home. Black folks didn't come up with that idea. They did that.
Mhm. No, but it said that black men came up with that idea. We were the ones that abandoned the home. Even though I'm looking around right now, I mean,
That's said, but it can't be proven.
yeah, but I can't speak for every black man. Just like black women on an individual basis can't speak for every black woman.
Exactly,
In
which means
terms of
we got to go with the majority. We have to go with the majority.
how about our observations in life? How about our individual observations in life? How many that we can count on both hands, if not more, that black women have said, I'm going to mistreat this black man that I've had a baby with only because he's not quote unquote acting right.
That's more in action than in words. I mean, I don't think anyone would actually literally say. Well, they might say it to their homegirls, but those are conversations we'll never hear. But the action.
It was in the movie, but it was in the movie.
The behavior. I mean, fuck a movie. We talk about reality right now. The behavior speaks for itself. Period.
Right. And I don't need to know what somebody said when I can just look at what their behavior is. And black women are acting like white supremacists. They follow white supremacist doctrine. They follow their lead. They're anti-black family, just like white supremacists are. And I'm not saying white people because every white person ain't a white supremacist, but white supremacists are anti-black family. So are black women. So what's the big deal?
Mm-hmm.
If you're anti-black family, you're white supremacist. I'm sorry.
I don't like that there are so many abortion clinics in black neighborhoods. I just found that out. That's crazy.
That's a little dicey conversation right there, the abortion conversation. Because if we start doing the little runoff facts thing about the abortion conversation, we'll whip it back to the topic at hand. We'll start getting all that shame and shit. Oh, don't tell me what to do with my body. You can't tell women what to do with their body, but you can tell me what I can do with my paycheck. So, the abortion argument is the same thing as the child support argument. Men have no reproductive rights.
Okay, but see, this is the thing. Before you go toward abortion, because abortion is still a medical issue. Yeah. White supremacy is not a medical issue. It's an ideology. You either follow it or you don't. And if women are anti-family, regardless of how they go into being anti-family, and that was the white people's idea they told black women to do, if they followed it, that's on them. Just because somebody made a suggestion to you don't mean you had to follow it.
Hey, I gotta step out for a second. Y'all continue the conversation. Just one moment.
No problem.
I think the title indicated the word broke, and
no, he's just talking about he was saying that when you have a discussion with somebody when they can't basically defeat your logic, they're just gonna call you broke to insult you. And yeah, women do that. There's plenty of women who've done that. And my thing is,
Oh,
they call me in all kinds of stuff, which I said earlier when I first came on. They call me in all kinds of stuff if you say something logical and they can't defeat your logic. They'll call you broke. They'll call you gay. They call you all kind of stuff. You know, my thing is that's
oh, okay.
just a
Just kind of like how people call me drunk when I'm not. Okay, I get it. No problem. Look, that is very significant. There's a word for that called diminishment. It's an attempt to diminish someone that would otherwise contribute something significant to the conversation. And in order to diminish, what would be significant, you have to break them down. And not you, but a person would, attack different types of essence of what would be ill character. And broke is a symbolism of ill character. Drunkard, being drunk is a symbolism of ill character. And that is basically a tactic. It's nothing more than that. Any intelligent person, in my humble opinion, would see past that and understand, or rather comprehend, it's a tactic. That's it.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that's just a tactic to try. He's talking about in the context of a woman saying it to a man, which means that's a woman trying to diminish what a man is saying because again, they're not pro family.
That's her tactic.
Yeah, then they're not pro family. They're against black male leadership, and they're showing their white supremacy. That's how you do it. It's just a way of showing that you're white supremacy.
It's very conniving, underhanded, and it's intended
I wouldn't say conniving and underhanded because that's more straightforward. You know what I'm saying? Just to insult somebody.
No. To call a man broke and you have no idea what his bank account holds is conniving.
How they not fooling nobody? They're just heralding an insult. You know what I'm saying? So conniving is trying to fool
shocking.
Somebody.
It's the 3-card Molly. It's the 3-card Molly. It's like,
this is what I'm saying. Conniving, when you say conniving, that means you're trying to fool someone. You're not fooling anybody, but just hurling a straightforward insult. It's a stupid thing to do. But I'm not saying you're trying to.
What's an example of trying to fool somebody?
Hear what I'm saying. If you call a person broke, they already know what they got. There's nothing you can tell them that's gonna have them have a misinterpretation of their own bank account. They know what they got already. So it's not really saying anything. It's just you feel small or something like that, and you're lashing out. So I'm not gonna say it's conniving because I'm not gonna put more on them than what they're doing. It shows you felt small, you felt little, and you wanted to lash out at a person. It's stupid, and it shows you don't have your emotions together. But it's not conniving. Conniving is trying to fool somebody, manipulate them into doing something that you want them to do. I'm not gonna say that they're doing that to get somebody to do what they want them to do. They're just trying to find a way to win an argument. That's really what that is. And they have no way to win. So they're going to attack a person. So, that's just like a lack of I ain't going to say.
Do you have an example? Do you have an example as to what you've experienced of the difference of conniving something versus not?
I'm sorry, you broke up. I didn't hear you. I have an example of what? I didn't hear the question. You faded out. Can you repeat the question?
I will say this. I will say this to answer Bella. We've had a lot of conversations. We've had a lot of conversations like that. The conversation all over YouTube. I mean, you can hear it in the way people talk. I mean, plus examples on everybody got family and families aren't perfect. I'm sure there's examples in like some of us aren't willing to admit that of the things that we talk about here, So I mean, okay. So anyway, This, I had to step out, so my bad. I had to step away for a minute. Just having some, family emergency out of town, and I have to be here. So, if I dip out, I do apologize. But thanks to the audience for tuning in. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the support
It's
as
a
of late.
pleasure speaking with you.
Okay,
I'm gonna
but
hang on as long as my network allows. It's a pleasure.
okay. Man, that's all any of us we can do. That's all any of us can do. But tonight's topic is they only call you broke when you're right. And what I know about certain people that can pretty much get by, just not having it playing devil's advocate, not or not having the difference of opinion, even going as far as a simp. But I understand that there were some bad examples of some human beings that I've seen on social media. Like they will be all the things that these women would complain about, but because they simp, they were able to get by with it. Like one dude he was an abuser of his girlfriend. He had a past record of it, and I know that that's just due to people doxing. Looking up newspaper articles with the man name on it. And it's like because he's Simpson, he has such hatred and vitriol for black men, he's not seen as such. But you see the celebrity examples, they did that shit 20 and 30 years ago and people still mad at him about it. This guy was like a recent example. I've seen deadbeat fathers that come into these little groups, these little enclaves. They're able, like, by using shaming against critical thinkers, critical thinking black men, they are able to get by with the kind of character, the kind of sour ass character that they have. And, it's for me, it's like that's one of the things really that makes me stay steadfast by my opinion, and not to sway from it just because it makes somebody mad. Because I see stuff like that. I do. I see stuff like that. And I don't think that bad logic should make anyone sway from their opinion. I mean, but go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say if somebody is known to do something that bad, you know what I'm saying, and people just agree with him just because he's trying to say something toward their favor. I mean, at the end of the day, my thing is either you're right or you're not. It's just that simple. At the end of the day, either you're saying something that makes sense or you're saying something that's completely stupid. I'm gonna deal with what you're saying. If it's completely stupid, you're still dumb for just saying that to people in public anyway. If you got dumb thoughts, keep them to yourself. What you've done beforehand or afterhand don't make no difference. You know what I'm saying? If you said something stupid, you said something stupid. My thing is, if you in a conversation, you don't know the right answer, just be quiet. Just, you know what I'm saying? It's okay to be in a learning position. When people, I was doing it the other day. I was listening to a stream, bro. They was talking about some high tech chemistry stuff. That stuff way over my head. You know what I'm saying? I just started listening so I can learn some stuff. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to talk. You don't have to talk just because you can. That's my thing. But if people react a certain way because of what somebody said, even though it makes no sense because they're just agreeing with them, I mean, yeah, women are going to do that. It's silly. Does it help them in life? No, it does not, because they get a lot of bad results to prove it. It don't help them in life. So my thing is those people are pretty much idiots. And I don't advise you listening to an idiot just because he's trying to make you feel good. That's kind of stupid in my opinion.
I mean, honestly, I would never want my daughter dating a simp. And I'm not in some kind of simp hate group or anything. I'm just saying that it just seems like that they're false guys. They have false intentions. I mean, if it and they kind of call it what they use that word game. It's like, I was told a long time ago by a multiple time baby daddy. Then he had like 3 baby mamas. He was like, well, man, you know what the game is lying, man. Sometimes, and this is his exact words, man, you got a lot of these hoes.
Well, you don't tell me you have to, but I get it.
I'm like, no, man, no, guys, no.
You really don't have to a lot of these hoes. They'll give you some anyway.
Yeah. But I was a square. I was a square for not wanting to do the females like that. But I mean, I guess I guess you catch more bees with honey, and if honey was bullshit.
Yeah, I guess it's all about context, I guess, because yeah, you ain't got to tell these hoes lies. You can tell them the truth. They gonna hoes gonna be hoes regardless. That's what niggas gotta understand. Hoes gonna be hoes. That's who they are.
I mean, I've gotten pretty far with honesty with women. Seriously, I mean, it's like blunt honesty. Some would even say brutal honesty. I mean,
Ain't no reason to lie.
no, not at all.
Yeah, cause hoes gonna get down because they hoes. That's my whole thing. What you saying to the hoes ain't gonna. I mean, I guess you could say something so cross that'll make some hoe change their mind. But if she a hoe, she gonna get down because that's what hoes do.
Yeah, yeah, but you ain't got to lie, dog. Yeah, I mean, but why is that type so revered though? I mean,
Because hoes want somebody to say something nice about them.
yeah, and then that brings me to my next point. Like,
No,
I'm glad
his question is, why are hoes revered?
No, he's talking about the simp that's trying to say something nice about the hoe. And I'm just saying hoes want to be admired too. So I get it. Of course they're gonna try to protect him. Who else gonna say something nice about him?
Yeah,
Think about it.
promiscuity is something that I don't advocate for. It's very dangerous to be promiscuous. I just thinking about it is just ridiculous to me. Lasciviousness, promiscuity, and all those things that cause casual fluid exchange outside of a commitment is just sickening to me. I don't get why people do it.
Cause hoes gonna be hoes. And for a lot of folks, sex is fun. That's just what it comes down to.
Well, men do it. Men are hoes too. That's what I'm saying. It's like
men can't be hoes. Now you crazy.
Oh man, here we go.
Men can't be hoes. No,
okay.
I'm just trying to inform you. Men cannot be hoes.
No.
So where did the term hoe ass nigga come from?
I mean, that's basically a man.
That's nigga talk. Yeah. That was meant to insult. That's an insult.
Right. It's trying to take a man and reduce him to a female. That's what that is.
Yeah. Hoe ass nigga, bitch ass nigga. Yeah, like
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you.
But they can't be that. Why? They can't be that. Why?
I mean, because ass nigga is a suffix. You can put any ass. You can put anything on and put ass nigga on it. It'll make sense to your average nigga.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you why men can't be hoes.
PlayStation ass nigga. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, men can't be hoes because women, they revere men for being able to have sex. Men don't revere women for being able to have sex. We have that as that's understood. You can have sex, so we're not gonna give you no props because you can get some dick. Women give men props for being able to get pussy. So y'all will be hoes and we won't be.
We revere you for what you can do to us.
There are men that are being cared for by women with money. So they're not hoes.
No, not in the hoes.
What
are they? What are they? They're just men. Oh, okay. My bad. So if a woman is being cared for by a man, what's that?
Who said who's called a woman that's being cared for by a man a hoe? That sounds like a wife. What are you talking about?
No, I didn't say wife.
It's men that take care of women on a regular basis. They're called wives.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, no.
I'm saying that's why you got to clarify.
No.
She got to clarify because she said if you take care of a woman, it's a bunch of husbands that's taking care of women.
There's a kept woman and there's a kept man outside of the covenant of the vows of marriage. What are they to be designated as?
Okay, they could be a fiance or they could be a boyfriend, girlfriend. So that make them a hoe? I'm saying you got to clarify that. If a man and a woman live together but they not married, and the only person she's sleeping with is that man who's actually taking care of her. How is she now a hoe? That don't make sense.
I thought the
At
common
the
denominator.
you actually didn't. So with that being said, you didn't expound as to the specifics of hoism. What
No,
are the intricate details of hoism?
hoes are women that have sex with a bunch of men. See, if a man has sex with a bunch of women, ain't nobody finna call him a hoe because women like men that can have sex with a bunch of women. Men don't care about a woman that can have sex with a bunch of men. That don't mean anything to us.
They call the guys players. They play
Yeah.
play.
All right.
Himalayas.
Okay. So player equates hoe. All right.
No, it
Got
doesn't.
you.
Not at all.
No, player
Nope.
doesn't equate hoe. Women revere men for being able to have sex with multiple women. Men will never revere women for being able to have sex with multiple men. We're never going to revere you over that or say women put men
Player
on a
is not.
pedestal. This
Player
is the
is not
thing.
an attractive
No. This is the thing.
Okay. That's
No,
not.
this is the thing.
That's not like the best
No.
deal
To you.
to call yourself.
No. That's to you in general, which is where things come from. The mass of people in general, women care about the fact that a man can sleep with a bunch of women. Men don't care about the fact that a woman can sleep with a bunch of men. So we're never going to be hoes.
I get it. I know that women have the right to wear a dress and men have the right to wear
that ain't
pants.
got nothing to do with what I'm saying.
I get no, we're talking about double standards because player equates
that is a double
hoe.
standard.
Player
no, it doesn't.
And hoes are the same thing.
No, it is
Players
not.
and
No,
hoes are the same thing.
No, they are
brother.
not.
Players and hoes are the same thing.
They are not the same thing because players are
does not support that statement. You know, that's not player and hoe has never been synonymous in any slang.
Never.
At all.
Never. Never.
Any slang.
I'll tell you something else.
Wait a minute.
I think
in mellow slang, yes, it exists. In mellow slang, it exists. But I
got some more slang for you.
I'm just saying.
Y'all tripping. I got some more slang for you. I want to eradicate the N word, you know, for the holistic healing of our culture.
No, that ain't about to happen.
I think I understand
that's not hurting the culture. That's not hurting the culture.
If I could not be interrupted for one moment, please.
Maybe, but that ain't hurting the culture.
The N word equates slave.
Nah, I can't give you that one.
No. Slave to me means more so like if you it is no choice. You know, being a nigga is a choice.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned.
Right. Nigga, yeah, slave has a definite definition to it. I mean, and maybe that's just something.
I mean,
it's a lot of women that try to make words mean something else, but words have definitions for a purpose.
Like I give you one, Roger. The word simp obviously is supposed to mean the black man who loves the black woman. When we know that shit doesn't mean that.
Yeah, and simp actually means a man that'll protect the woman that he's not invested in from accountability. That's what simp has always mean. People try to bring it, and now that it came to the internet, people trying to put all kinds of definitions. Words have definitions for a meaning. If words don't have definitions that actually stick, then communication is pointless. You can't make red blue just because you want to make it blue for right now. That don't work.
Yeah. And 2 + 2 = 4, but some people will argue that shit down too. Like, honestly. Like it
equals 8. It equals 8 because this is what I'm saying, and in the context of this conversation alone, it equals 8. Nah, it's still 2 + 2 = 4. That's it.
If you break each one of the ones in half, they'll grow another, and it become a whole one.
Yeah. Words got definitions for a meaning, and if we don't stick to definitions, there's no point in having a conversation.
All right, let's roll it back into Shane. Let's roll it back. Let's get back on topic. They only call you broke because you're right. You know, can you imagine a guy that sits up here and champions women? Do they examine his bank account before they accept what he says, or do they just take? Like I'm
I mean,
saying, like this is their version of championing women. You bitch ass niggas, y'all talk about these women and y'all ain't shit. Fuck y'all niggas. Oh, that's not standing up for a woman. You know, not the way I was raised. But you know, if the dude can look like I don't know Pigpen off of Charlie Brown, many times over. But if he's typing that stuff, like if he's typing that stuff on the internet, they'll love him for it. You know,
but you know,
like I
what
said,
that
they're
does?
trying to get the dimple in the
You
DM.
know, what that does? That exposes that he agrees, but he has no way to say he disagrees. Because when you do say stuff like that, if a man is, let's say a man is attacking a woman, just, you know what I'm saying, have on the internet, he attacking her, he calling all kinds of whatever case is, right?
Yeah,
And you
unbridled.
say, right, and let's say you want to come to her rescue on some verbal stuff on the internet. You supposed to be like, look, bro, she not that. She's this, that, and that instead. But if your thing is, no, you shouldn't say that, and then you give no reason why you shouldn't say it, that means you literally agree, but you're not trying to show that you agree. Because if you gonna defend the person's character and you have nothing to defend the character with, you're pretty much confirming that the person has bad character.
Mm.
Because if you want, because being on defense of character, yet you offer no good opinion about their character, you're proving that this person does have bad character.
You know, but what I'll say is this is also one thing to consider the context of the conversation and what led up to all of that. Because I mean, if you're gonna just go from the point where he starts getting all, you know, mad disrespectful, calling all kinds of bitches and fuck you and all the other stuff. I mean, you know, you could go back and instead of just moving forward and saying, "Hey, bro, you know what the fuck, dude? You're a weird ass dude. You just mad because you ain't getting no pussy. Why don't you go back in the conversation, a few comments, to see what led up to that? You know, now, I mean, by me doing that, you know, I've avoided making snap judgments, and you know, avoid, avoid walking that line of sentence. I'll say that.
And let me say this: what if a broke dude was actually saying something that was correct, and let's say a woman calls him broke, right?
Yeah.
Let's say he absolutely broke. This nigga ain't got no job, nothing. Does that make him any less right?
No, I mean seriously, like it doesn't matter what status the guy is or what status the woman is. If they're right, they're right. I mean,
Exactly.
you can chip at the credibility all you want, but if it's a right answer, you're gonna go somewhere else and get the same answer. Like, you know, you're just wasting your time going to seek a right answer from somewhere else. You're just trying to be a douche, basically. I mean, it's like if okay, like, you know, I've seen a lot of shaming in YouTube. Like, I would say I've been a subject of job shaming. I should be able to, I should be able to say this, and I'm not gonna point out the person because I feel like that person's in the past. You know, but I will say what happened.
He did you wrong. I'll say that.
No. Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead. Let me paint a picture. No, I was doxxed, and some information got out from almost 20 years ago. About my places of employment. So they got that. So, well, they don't know exactly where those places are, but they know in the area of, I was a restaurant worker. And one thing that we love to do in the Black community is job shame. But yeah, even if it is 20 years ago, it doesn't matter to me. It does to any sensible person. It doesn't matter 20 years ago as long as I wasn't doing anything egregiously illegal. Like hurting kids or some shit like that. As long as I wasn't doing something like that, 20 years ago shouldn't matter. I progressed since then. I don't share my business not because I'm ashamed. It's because it's like if any crazy somebody come to my house with any kind of and I've heard somebody got busy one time. you know, I'm gonna make it as painful as possible. So I just want to avoid it kind of thing. But this person in particular, you know, is like will say, you know, I'm just gonna go and flat out say it. He said that I was currently working as a server for Applebee's. Now I will make this point. It's like, okay, everybody at one point that sat down at a restaurant and looked their server in the eye and told them that they wanted this, they wanted their food, they wanted their drink, whatever. I've never been a server, ever. You know, I was on the other side of that. I'll admit that. I was a cook. You know, I was a manager. I've ran stores, stuff like that. But, you know, that's a past life. But, you know, we like the job shame. Why job shame anybody making an honest living just because they're saying something that you don't like?
That's kind of
for someone to actually go there with me. And the kind of thing that I do on my YouTube channel, if I take any small subtle shot at anybody, is earned. I don't go out of my way to beef or anything like that because I feel like that diminishes me. I got better shit to concentrate on. But, you know, the first thing we go to is job shame. It doesn't matter what job motherfucker work. This dude can be shoveling shit. As long as he paying his bill and take care of his children, wife, whatever, it's good. It's all good. I don't care. But if you right, you right. Period.
yeah. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, see, I wouldn't really job shame nobody because it's like, do you want black people to improve or not? So if I make fun of you having a job that you're doing legitimately, it's like I'm not really for you improving yourself. And I started off working fast. I worked at 2 fast food joints. I ain't gonna say which because I don't want to get to no technical issues with nobody. But I don't work fast food before. That's how I started off as far as legitimate work because I've been working since I was 9, but it wasn't legit. I used to go around with like cousins, brothers and sisters, shovel snow, you know, do work the yards, all that type of stuff. But first legitimate job, I started in fast food. So it is what it is. We all got to start somewhere.
But, you know, I mean, like, but when I was in that time period, I'll tell you this. I'm the guy that never felt any kind of way about any black man or black woman's success. I mean, you know,
I felt the way. I felt the way.
I mean, I'm sure you'll make it make sense, Roger. So
I felt the way. I felt good, player. I started getting them checks. I felt good. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, you're talking about your own success. You're talking about your own success.
Exactly. So, I still felt the way.
Yeah, like I have nothing against anybody being proud of their own success, but you know, I mean, I also have a problem with people hating on other success. You know, I mean, it's like it ain't like the people. It ain't like the people in the black men who it ain't the ones who just the ones who aren't successful they get attacked. It's the ones that are successful who get attacked too. You know, it's the common denominator is getting attacked. You know, like I would say, you know, from the measly, you know, garbage man, fast food worker to a billionaire like Robert Smith.
Hey, the better you do, the more you get attacked. That's just the name of the game. You know, the better you do, the more you get attacked.
Mm.
You know, and that's a shame that it's like that. But at the end of the day, why would somebody attack you for being productive? Because you're a weak person. Because only a weak person will attack somebody for being productive. Like you really mad and pissed off. Something's really not right in your life to attack the fact that you are productive. That makes zero sense for black people to be doing, especially with the fact that it took so much for black people to even get into the positions we are now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, you're a real hater.
Something that reminds me of that is that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode. You know, the one where Will and Carl was trying to get in the frat. You know, they let Will in because he was a cool guy. You know, he fit in with everybody. But even though Carlton did everything and they made an absolute fool out of Carlton, they still wouldn't let him in just because of the way he carried himself. You know, and it all boiled down to him being able to say complete sentences.
Well, my thing is I'm very anti attacking black people for being productive because I don't see how. Because it's too close to white supremacy to me. You can make an argument that I'm a white supremacist if I'm talking about you for having a job and being productive, and I'm not going to put myself in that position.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, that's media indoctrination too, but because we uplift the guys that do all the illegal stuff because we feel like that. I don't know. I guess I don't know the logic because I don't think this way, but it appears to me like they feel like those guys are defenders and providers for the various communities that are struggling.
No, they don't. No, you don't. That's just boy. That's the biggest lie. No, they do not, man. Those people up them niggas because they feel they easy to control. They ain't got
I
nothing to do
mean,
with what they think they doing.
I've heard somebody call them a warrior class. That's who our warrior class is.
Hey, you can call them whatever you like, but why do them niggas matter? It's because them niggas are in positions that if they stand up to a woman got
Those
something on.
slaves, those slaves.
Well, they're not slaves till they locked up. You know what I'm saying? Then you can become a slave because you're a legal slave if you can convicted. That's absolutely law. You know what I'm saying? It's in the Constitution. You can actually be a slave if you convicted of a crime. If you serving time, you can be a slave. But
That 13th
beforehand,
Amendment trap door.
yeah, but beforehand, a lot of women want to just have something over niggas. So if a nigga's doing something illegal, she got something she can always pull his chain on. Do what I say, or I'm gonna tell. That's what. I mean, we live in how do most niggas get caught? Is it not a woman involved?
Niggas, huh? Slaves.
No.
So the
That's how-
potentiality.
no, I'm saying women do it. Women
the
do
black women. So is it safe to surmise that black women continue to perceive that black men have the potentiality of being slaves, which, you know, rather future convicts, like, you know,
they're not thinking about it from that extent. They just want somebody they feel they can control. That's why they be dropping the dime on niggas. You're not gonna do what I say. I'm gonna drop the dime on you. I'm gonna hit up your parole officer, or I'm gonna call him and tell her where the deal go down. How many niggas been caught up with a bunch of stuff because some chick told? That's like a huge amount of guys. It's so many guys locked up over what some broad said is ridiculous.
we have a new panelist. I'm going on mute.
Okay, all right. Thank you for being so considerate and kind, Mela, as to silence yourself for, you know, because I was going to do that anyway. I was going to introduce Black Uru. You know, tell him to go ahead and, you know, say what he got to say since he's just coming up to the panel. Welcome, Black Uru.
Hey, how you do, Kev? Thanks for having me up. It's a pleasure to talk to you again. Of course, it's always a pleasure to hang out with our buddy Roger.
Oh yeah,
Roger Dodger.
What's going on, Black Uru?
How you doing, brother? How's your Saturday evening?
It's coming along pretty good so far. Hope it stays that way.
You gonna hit them streets tonight, or you doing the COVID sit-in? Or
now I'm gonna hit the streets, but it's gonna be about some money. I'm gonna tell you that. It ain't gonna be about just doing
all right
something.
now.
It's gonna be about some money.
Okay.
I'm technically in the streets now. I'm just at a pit stop.
Okay. All right now. Yeah, this is a good it's a good subject you all are talking about. You know, there's so much propaganda that's used against thinking black men who attempt to be free in their thoughts and their behavior, especially when being such is in direct opposition to the status quo gynocentric white supremacist paradigm. So yeah, I almost think sometimes we need to, in this environment, create some sort of, I don't know, maybe we put on the Negro Manosphere, or maybe even on one of the channels, maybe I'll do it, if I get it, stop being lazy, but almost sort of catalog all of the many shaming tactics that are waged against men in general, but certainly black men in particular. Be interesting to just kind of see all the ways, all the methodologies that are used to try to compromise or to fallaciously counter worthwhile arguments that are being made in this environment and even out of this environment by thoughtful black men. And yeah, the whole notion, as you were saying, Roger, this particular notion of shaming, Kev, you know, because of whatever job he worked, you know, yeah, that is a particularly kind of evil thing to do. You know, I mean, it's one thing to shame somebody maybe because they've had some criminal record or they have some other disreputable thing on their record. And even then, I mean, if it happened long ago and if the person has made amends and has lived a decent life going from that point, even then, that's still very much kind of a shameful thing to do.
Well,
But
well, here it is though. Here it is though. Is we and I've said this before. It's a fix of white supremacy. You know, the black man only gets one chance. Period. You know. And
when does he get that chance? I mean, I'm curious as to when that occurs. You know, show me. I don't remember it. You know, it being like, okay, start. You're okay right now, but don't screw it up. I don't remember ever having that conversation anywhere. It was pretty much okay. Bam, you screwed up. Fuck, you're suddenly have set yourself back 10 years from everybody else. So,
Real talk.
You know, I mean, but yeah, I mean, you're right in the sense that, you know, anything that you don't do or do that fits a certain script or don't fit a certain prescribed idealistic script of some sort, that's one of the many tools that can be used against you, particularly in some sort of rhetorical fashion. So yeah, I mean, you know, heck, I worked on the back of, you know, I've loaded and unloaded trucks, you know, as a job. I stocked shelves, you know, as a job. You know, I mean, I was considerably younger, but, you know, who, those of us who were not born with silver spoons in our mouth, which of us didn't do things that were probably low paying, maybe considered on the lower end of the socioeconomic rung? I mean, that's a silly thing to do. You know, that's a very silly thing to do. In addition to being just very, in my view, very mean, and I agree it is, its effect is definitely white supremacy. It's very white supremacy.
Yeah, I don't want to. Oh, go ahead, kid. My bad. Go ahead.
No. I mean, it's just that not even wanting to see a black person in a good light. You know, just over some stuff like that.
They don't want to see a black man. You know, I'm always gonna push back on this black person thing because I don't see very many women being shamed for their work.
You're right about
that. So I think we should be very specific. You know, we've gotten into this thing, and with respect, Kevin, you know, I'm going to maybe belabor this point. But for too long, we have been talking about things in this context of black people. But when you go through the detail and you do the line item review, you know, black people get locked up more than anybody else. No, black men get locked up more than anybody else. Black people have the lowest unemployment rate. No, black men have the lowest unemployment rate. Black women have a considerably higher, or well, pre-COVID, put it that way, had a considerably higher and better employment rate than black men. You know, and then everything from death, you know, premature death, issues involving health. You know, black women live considerably better lives than black men do. But when you put us all together and you get to say black people are impacted this way. Now, black men are beaten by police. Does it happen on some occasion to black women? Sure. Is it statistically significant? Not really. Not really. You know, so I just think, you know, in this environment in particular, given what I think is kind of the mission of the Black Manosphere, we should be careful we should be specific about how things work at a gender level, because I think that helps to make our argument even stronger in this environment. So, but I know I went way too deep, and you know, you were just making a comment. It wasn't even that serious to you, but it is kind of a thing for me. It's kind of a thing.
Understand this. It's not pointed in the right direction. Yeah, I do empathize with the plight of black men. being a black man myself, and that should be taken into consideration because it is taken so little into consideration when you see the wide spectrum of everything else. So I do fully understand where you're coming from, Black Girl. So I mean, no harsh feelings or nothing taken like that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And I wanted to touch on something you all were talking to Mel. I wish he was still on the panel. The easiest thing in the world any woman can do is get fucked, right? There is no accomplishment there. You know what the actual effort that a woman requires to have sex is just about the equivalent to the effort is required for her to breathe or to have a bowel movement. There is no great effort required there. Actually, probably for some, the bowel movement may be more difficult to achieve. So, I mean, you can't compare that to a men who, for the most part, having sex requires some actual effort on their part to some degree. Of course, that varies based on the man and his circumstances, his economics, his appearance, his charm level, all that type of thing. But generally, a man having sex with some regularity is going to require some effort on his part, economic, physical, emotional, whatever. A woman can just go out on the streets and point to a guy, and there's at least a 50% chance that he'll say, okay, depending on what circumstances you're in. And whether he think he can get away with it, and whatever woman he's dealing with is not going to find out about it.
And that's absolutely true.
So that's why a woman being a hoe, that's why there is no male equivalent, because it's just much more difficult and much more rare for a man to have great sexual liberation or great sexual access. For any woman at all could have a lot of sexual access. If she looks like anything above a, demon or whatever, I don't, you know what I mean? If she looks like anything that's human, she can have sex as much as she wants to.
Right. And my thing is, even the ones that look like Shrek be having babies, so
exactly.
I know it's not no college.
Exactly. And you see them walking with babies, and sometimes you see female Shrek walking with dudes. And those dudes be looking a lot better than them.
Real talk.
Hey, but to that point, yeah, guys who have sex with a lot of women, I mean, number one, if he's called a hoe, he calls himself a hoe, which is very odd and very rare. Number two, that's validation for them. They don't have to go through the trouble of finding out themselves what this guy's like in bed. Mm-hmm. That's why they do it.
And if a man calls himself pardon me.
No. I was just saying, they sit around and, that's why these dudes be fucking their girls' friends and shit, because they sitting up there talking about their experience with the guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if a woman tells another woman some guy's a hoe, chances are it's a better than even chance that other woman is going to get with him. It's a better than even chance. So calling a man a hoe is not at all does not at all have a negative effect for him. If anything, it's promotional material.
Yeah.
So no, it's just not, Mela. It's not the same. It's not the same at all. Just because two different people do the same thing, that don't mean that they necessarily are the same thing.
Well, it's like if people come with instructions. And for them, a guy who has a lot of sex, that's just, he's coming with instructions. I mean, women don't come with instructions. So, they.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have something going on. Typically, gotta have something going on for a man to have.
Even if you have nothing going on, if a man is gonna have sex with a woman who's willing to take care of him, let's keep it real. It's gonna cost him his dignity.
Oh yeah.
So even that's gonna cost him.
Well, yeah.
She's gonna talk to you like a child.
At some point, she's going to exert she's gonna make him pay for that eventually. She's gonna make him pay for that. Like you say, his dignity, his pride, his sense of manhood, or whatever. Yeah, it's definitely compromised in that particular situation. And at some point, when she done found somebody else, or she just gets tired of him, and the magic of whatever he's doing between her legs begins to wear off, then he's gonna be tossed out on the streets.
Exactly.
Gotta have something else.
But you know what though? At least women are smart enough to promote something like he's a warrior. That's an ego stroke of man, so he don't feel bad about his position. That's really what that's an attempt to. But if women really thought something of those men, they would be married to those men. Period. You see what I'm saying? Like, they don't marry those guys because them guys ain't gonna take care of them at the end of the day. So that shows you the level of respect right there. It's a huge lack of respect that they have for those guys.
Yeah, I mean, and if they marry some guy, I mean, there is a potential that he could end up taking something from her, if there's a divorce of some sort. So no, they have no motivation at all to marry those men, not at all.
Yeah, but you got to compliment them somewhere, or they're gonna pick up on the fact that it's costing them the only thing they got left, which is their dignity.
Yeah, but when they call them the warrior class in their face, and they call them bullet bags behind their backs.
They call them all kinds of stuff when they sleep with that other man.
Yeah, I mean, even like this bullet bag thing. See, this is one of these things that apparently that like women, or I guess black women, have been calling, black men, I guess, who have been unfortunately killed in some under some circumstances or another. But like this bullet bag thing, that's like, see, that's like that undercurrent of thing that is said between there are things that are said between or amongst black women that we don't hear about, or we don't know about, or we might by chance hear secretly or whatever, or maybe some female friend of ours will reveal some of this sort of subterranean language to us. But it's a lot of things that they be saying, a lot of thoughts that they'll pass around about black men in particular, not very favorable, not very, it's very white supremacist.
That's what I'm here for, to have your questions answered as to what specifically are, is exchanged amongst black women behind the scenes regarding black men.
Well, let me ask you this question, Mel, since you're open to questions.
And please do before my network goes out, because this has been chopping up. Please do. Thank you.
I'm not going to ask your age, but I'm going to assume
I'm old.
You've been around.
Yeah,
well,
I'm old.
I mean,
I'm over 50. Believe it or not, I'm 51.
Well, if you're comfortable enough to, well, you're close to my age, so. What do you think about, like, there's been a charge in this environment that, for decades now, and since you're admitting to be 50, you would have seen this kind of thing happen.
My network is scarce. Please be specific and concise.
What do you think about the accusations in this space about, all the negative things that have been said and done about black men over the last like 30 or 40 years, the whole Oprah thing, the whole, what do you think?
It's a bombardment of bullshit. Next question.
What does that mean? I don't know what that statement means.
It's the bombardment of BS that has been attributed to. Oh man, can you hear me?
We hear you. Hello? I hear you fine. We hear you fine.
Okay, great. The bombardment is that the media that is controlled.
Oh, now we lose her.
They
Okay,
found out was like, dang, on the other state.
The white man got his foot on her connection.
Yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad. Now, I just wanted to hear given that she's been around a little while, what she thought or what she thinks.
I told y'all I'm trying to work this, because they're building 5G towers in my area, and so there's an interruption until I get updated technology. In the meantime, to explain the bombardment of BS that has occurred for the previous 40 years, that would
well, when you say it's bullshit, then you agree with the arguments that have been made by
it was
the
unfair.
Men?
What I mean by bullshit is that it was unfair. It's unfair.
So you agree with the general sentiment?
It wasn't an even plane. That's what I mean. It was not an even plane. It's like, why should Black women have the opportunity and quote unquote media to step on the neck of the Black man when the Black man didn't have the opportunity to step on the neck of the Black women? It was a very unfair media balance of propaganda, because that's all it really was. It was propaganda.
Amongst yourself and your other female
Keep
peers.
in mind, my network, I might log.
Okay.
Well, she will.
I guess if you hear this, Mella, maybe we'll do it this way.
Here's what I don't want to do. I don't want them to think that these conversations happen as a result of tit for tat. I mean, we do acknowledge the fact that there have been, Black women that have done this for years and use mainstream media to do it. And I don't see how people can't see that it's white supremacy, when you got white people all behind the scenes when that kind of thing happens. But we do this because this shit has gotten out of control for too long, and it's time to have some uncomfortable conversations. That's why we do it. It ain't a tit for tat. It ain't because they do it, we gonna do it too. And most of the time when we say things about what Black women do and how they express what we do, it's a lot of the times, yes, it is a rebuttal. But if we want to be a people that are about solutions, we're going to first have to point out those problems. And if you don't like who's being implicated because of the gender, so to speak, well, too bad. Sorry. I mean, maybe it's me. I wasn't raised to sugarcoat, like, at all. I try to be somewhat political at times, but I end up messing up like that too. I understand that, that it's best for me just to be straightforward with it and not care about, consider my audience, but not care about, not let feelings get involved too much. Let facts take precedence more, more so to speak.
No, here. I definitely agree with that. I guess I guess part of what I was trying to do was to kind of delve into the mind of the women who particularly were coming up during that time, what they actually thought about. I mean, I know how I thought and how other brothers felt about what they were seeing back then. I'm close to 60 years old, so it was quite apparent to me what was going on and why it was going on. And I was also in Chicago, and Oprah is sort of the center of the world for all that kind of stuff. So it was particularly, I felt it kind of particularly acutely. And but the women, it's interesting that women will talk about certain things quite openly and honestly, but then other things that they know are wrong, very often they'll still just kind of sit in silence on it, and that's what I thought I saw through much of that time while much of that was going on. I mean, they knew it wasn't quite right. They knew it was going overboard, but they wouldn't take any actual kind of active collective stance against what was going on. And maybe because their egos were being stroked by it. And of course, you had all this social programming that started to ramp up behind all of what was going on back then as well. So kind of going back to what you guys were saying earlier about the white supremacist thing, you know, maybe they don't know it consciously, but yeah, Roger, they were white supremacists. You know, they were doing white supremacist things and doing so quite effectively for the status quo.
I'm not going to even say they did know it consciously. I just feel like if a person does something on a society level and you get to more than 50%, it's got to be on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I look at it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing a couple of years ago that gym shoes that were sold in America. You know, just the gym shoes. The gym shoes that were sold in America, 59% of them had a Jordan symbol on it. So if you ask me, that tells me the American preferred gym shoe has something to do with Jordan. Come from a Jordan brand. It's an Air Jordan or a brand Jordan. That is the preferred shoe. We didn't get together and talk about it. We didn't have to have a discussion where everybody came to a room where everybody voted and said what's going to be our preferred shoe. That's just what America prefers. That is what we do. So if you have women who more than 50% of them in this voluntary situation choose to participate in some areas of activity that look like white supremacists, they must be white supremacists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it walk like a duck, quack like a duck, it's probably a duck.
Indeed. You know, one of the reasons why I've said that, you know, I think black men need to start sort of collectively kind of, you know, demanding that their sons be given to their fathers is because the women are not going to change what they're doing. I mean, Mela basically admitted it earlier where she was saying that, you know, even though they think they might or think they should be loyal to black men, you know, they're ultimately going to play for what they think is the winning team. And again, whether they'll admit it or not, to them, white supremacy is the winning team. And so it's not going to change with having the children, particularly the boys, you know, especially boys. It's not going to change with the boys being raised by them. It just can't. You know, you're just kind of trapped in a vicious cycle of creating men who are incapable, collectively incapable of really competing at the level that's necessary and defying a lot of all these things that drag black people collectively down. So if you don't take the boys out of, well, I don't know, maybe because of COVID, maybe that won't even be relevant anymore. As I was going to say, if you don't take the boys out of the schools, if you don't separate the boys from the girls in school, if you're going to have 80+% of the boys being raised by their mamas, ain't no fixing this. I mean, we can do this whole manosphere thing for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. It's just going to be a vicious cycle of just a very few of us, sort of like in a matrix. It's a very few, very, very infinitesimal percentage of the population that manages to get free from the matrix while the rest of us remain slaves.
Well, I'm hoping people will start to wake up because of what the manosphere is doing and, you know, make some different decisions about I mean, most of us are picking in the correct manner, but a lot of us are just going to have to continue to make some different decisions about who can have our baby in the first place, which, because you have more than 50% of black men who don't even have kids, I think most of us have already figured that out.
Yeah, but or, you know, a lot of us, you know, using myself as an example, we waited till we got married, where we were in a nuclear family situation, you know, which that works too.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, unfortunately, though, the way the math works is, you know, most of us are not coming through that way. You know, so you got half of us not having children at all, and then the majority of children are being born in some alternative family scenario. And so that's why I tend to be a little pessimistic, because the cycle of dysfunction continues. You know that, I mean, because like I said, you got half the guys not even having children, then if those are good men, then those are a lot of men who will not be fathers, who will not be leaders, you know, in families, who will not guide the next direction, the next generation of men and women. So that's 50% of us right there out of that mix. So 30% of us trying to make it happen, the 30% that's married. Then you got the other 20%, you know, Pookie and Ray Ray in it, you know. So
well, even with that 20%, some of those are actual good men. They're just not in a stable relationship with the woman because women like to leave when they have babies.
Right. Right. No, I'm not saying it's their fault. Or if I did, or if I implied that, then I should correct that.
I was implying.
I mean, you're right. There's a percentage of that 20% who are good men and are attempting to be good fathers. So I don't want to suggest otherwise, and I should be careful about that. I guess the only thing I would say is, though, the circumstances though that they're in are, even though they may attempt to do the right thing and be the right thing and be a good father, the circumstances typically or very often undermine that effort. So, and I've just seen, I have friends who, or sons of friends or whatever, who've been in circumstances where, they had a kid with some woman and they didn't get married, and they tried to do everything right and pay child support and all this, and they're constantly in court over some mess, and goes to pick up the kids, and she won't give him the kid, and all this. You got to go get the police to go get your son, and I've seen a lot of that kind of stuff over the years. And so when I look at that at the macroscopic level, say, okay, I just don't see how the current, just when you do the mix of how we're coming into this world now, it's difficult for me to remain positive about where things are going to go. We can feel comfortable about our own individual situations. I'm sure we do. But macroscopically, when I go out into the world, I just mostly see Black women and children. Very seldom see men with
them. I remember when I used to go out in public with my daughter, when she was first born, that people used to just give me this look like I was just doing so much.
Mm-hmm. You were a unicorn. You were a unicorn. It's the same thing with me and my daughters. I mean, I would actually get hit on when I would take my daughters out to things. The look in the eyes, and it wouldn't be just Black women, actually. It would be white women, actually, but often as well. But yeah. I mean, you're kind of this magical figure, Black man who loves and takes care of his kids, especially if they're daughters, because women kind of project themselves into that position, that whole daddy thing. So yeah, it's very interesting to go out into the world with your young children as a father.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like that one of the biggest, most egregious shaming is the Black fatherhood. Since we want to bring, Black fatherhood up, and the premise of this broadcast is shaming. It's very important that that people understand is that Black fatherhood is doing way better than people are making it out to be.
Yeah. I mean, and to the credit of the Center of Disease Control, recently reported that Black men are amongst the more involved fathers. Of course, they tried to attack that, as well. Because of course, I mean, how dare you say black men when you look at the high quote out of wedlock rate amongst black people? How can it be that black men are some of the or amongst the most involved fathers? But
we were the best fathers, not one of them. We were the best. But I understand why they attacked it, because if you make the logical, you come to a logical conclusion. If black men are the best fathers, then why are black children in the situation you're in? It's a very easy thing to come to.
Yeah. I mean, the math, the math leads in a very kind of obvious conclusion or direction. Yeah. Well, like I said, I definitely say when I see, a boy with his mama, I was talking to a daughter of a cousin recently who has two young sons. And I was telling her, I was like, you really need to give those boys to their father. I mean, we got to stop this cycle of boys being misraised by their mamas. They're not getting what they need to be men like that.
Well, they need
I
to
definitely agree.
Well, they need to work on how those babies get here first. Like I always say, you can't create a nuclear family in the backseat of a car. I mean, gotta have.
Yeah. That's true.
Gotta have some kind of stability.
Actually, I think my second child might have been backseat of a minivan, actually, but we were married. And you mentioned it, I was like,
well, the implication was that marriage was not present, but marriage, spontaneity and wild stuff,
Yeah. But no, I obviously I get your point. Yeah, no, the way, the randomness of the way in which so many of us are conceived definitely leads to an assortment of further bad decision making that culminates into some woman raising a boy to 13, 14, 15. Now she can't control him anymore, that type of thing. And then everybody get to say, use this fatherlessness or absentee father, or black deadbeat father and all that kind of stuff. But like you say, that all started from the fact that she met some guy in the club who she probably didn't even know his last name.
Or, we're also forgetting the whole teen pregnancy thing. That's still a factor. The guy on the other side is probably a teenager too. They do try to push this narrative like they're grown men getting teenagers pregnant, but nah. It's like what you'll see in your local high schools, for real, is like it's gotten pretty bad. I mean, I know some people who teach in schools now. They say there are all kinds of things going on in the places right now. But anyway, we got to get to the final statements. I've reached about the 2-hour mark, so either one of y'all want to go? I'm about to wrap this up.
I mean, I'll just say thanks for having me up, Kev. It was a pleasure to talk to you and Roger, and it's always good for a black man to vibe and kind of get out, their thoughts about things, and it all kind of adds to the body of the Black Manosphere, the mission, the purpose. I think we would agree what that is in terms of proving that we're human beings and we have thoughts and views and feelings that are specific and unique to what it means to be a black man in the United States. And we have a right to have those free thoughts and those free comments, just like everybody else. So I'll end it with that. Thanks.
Okay. And you're welcome at any time, brother.
Thank you, bro.
All right, no problem. Roger, what's going on?
Okay, I just like to say that, of course, appreciate being able to come here and share my thoughts as well. Want to say that, yeah, if a man is right, if he's telling you something, he's right. Because whether it's online or in person, as a woman, just respect the fact that he's right. What if he was broke and he told you the right thing? Did it really matter that he was broke? So relax, accept criticism when it can help you. You know, the world is not going to revolve around you. Everybody's not going to see it your way. And if men are trying to give you information to help you, you might as well take it. And I just want to give a big shout out to Black Uru. And Black Uru, I want to ask you something once we go off air.
Sure.
And you know, do appreciate you, brother. I'm gonna say that on air. That I do appreciate people like Black Uru. Y'all help us a great deal. You know, you help
Appreciate
us
you,
a great
gentlemen,
deal.
as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll see you next time around, Kev. And I don't know what's gonna happen with me tomorrow, but anybody who's checking me out, the Roger Report Live, Monday through Friday in the mornings, Central Time, around 9. I'll say that because it won't necessarily be 9 a.m., but it'll be close to it. All right.
Everybody out there, take care.
All right. Yeah, everybody take care. And I'll just say this. When it's shame that we could obviously see it because whether you're gonna want to admit it or not, sooner or later, you're going to have to admit that you're dealing with intelligent people. I mean, the whole point of shaming anyway is to reduce you down to, or reduce anybody that's reading down to a stupid person. And if you're a critical thinker and with any intelligence, you'll pick up on it. But what I would urge, especially us in the Black manosphere to do is to react to it maturely and factually to the shaming because we've seen it so many times. We ought to be able to, come up with the counter arguments that just blow it away, which ain't difficult in the first place. So, there's really no need to get worked up over stuff like that. It really is. It's better for us to put ourselves in a superior position by being able to command the situation with I don't know. I guess with the correct information, it all goes back to facts, and just kill them with facts. I ain't saying kill them with kindness, because I do believe that sometimes that some actions do deserve an equal and fitting reaction. But we, as Black men especially, we want to make the moves that are most productive for us. And sitting up there arguing with people that are trying to shame you, it is counterproductive. Seriously, I'm not saying don't counter them because actually it's kind of fun to counter some stupid people sometimes. I mean, just for time passing sake. But anyway, just remember one thing at the end of the day, even though it's not necessarily true. Sometimes this is the case. They're only calling you broke because you're right. Okay. And also, as I said last night, sometimes you just gotta alpha your way through it. Check that show out that we did about alphas and betas. I'll put the link in the description at the end of this. But all right, this is it for me. This is Kev. I'd like to thank Mela for stopping by. Again, let's thank Black Uru Strikes and my habitual line stepper brother Roger. And this is it. There's only a couple things left to say. Long live the habitual line steppers. In Kev we trust. Goodbye. Goodbye.
And you are still live.
Yeah, I'm still live. Yeah, this little end button. Oh, bear with me, people. Trying to end it. Oh, this is embarrassing. Well, hold on one second. Let me go back in and back out and see if oh, wait a minute. Boom.